I got blacklisted by my boss's girlfriend. She screamed at me over the phone. You work for him. A woman working for him. Don't you have any boundaries? Flirting with your boss after hours. Meanwhile, a multi-million-dollar contract sat on my desk, due to expire the very next day. When I tried to call back, my number was blocked. Leo, my boss, was nowhere to be found, and no one at the office would answer. The following morning, there was a knock at my door. Leo stood there, holding the company seal in one hand. I yawned, leaning against the doorframe. Leo, you're an adult. Don't you think some boundaries might help?
He blinked at me.
Showing up at your subordinate's apartment this early, not exactly professional, is it? We were putting the final touches on the contract when the office door creaked open. Chloe, his girlfriend, peeked inside. The moment her gaze landed on me, she froze. Her eyes were red and swollen, and her voice shook with unshed tears. Leo, am I interrupting? My hand paused on the contract printout. Leo froze, caught mid-motion, before stepping toward her, hand extended. Chloe recoiled slightly, a single tear sliding down her cheek. I'm sorry, she whispered, voice trembling. I didn't mean to doubt you, it's just, I hear things. People say bosses always fall for their indispensable assistants, and I get scared. I stayed silent, closing my laptop. Leo's face turned a chaotic shade of red and white. Words stumbled out of his mouth. Chloe, don't be ridiculous. This is just a contract. Nothing more. A contract? Her soft sniffles escalated into full-blown sobs. I know Avery is talented, smarter than me. I can't help you with anything. I just get in the way. But does talking business really need a closed door? Leo furrowed his brow, shifting his gaze between Chloe and me, clearly pleading silently for a way out. Avery, why don't you step out for a moment? Let me talk to her. I gathered my files from his desk.
Fine, I said.
But Mr. Henderson is waiting on the final draft. If we don't lock it in by 9 a.m. tomorrow, there's a 15% penalty on the total project value. I paused at the door, glancing back. And Leo? My paycheck doesn't cover couples counseling. With that, I stepped out, leaving Leo stunned and Chloe's cries echoing behind me. The office felt unusually still that morning. Chloe had started as the receptionist 2 years ago. Last year, she became Leo's girlfriend, and ever since, she carried herself like royalty. Any woman even remotely near Leo was immediately treated as a threat. She still managed to gather a small entourage of allies. Now, she leaned casually against the reception desk, chatting with a few colleagues. Her voice was sweet, almost saccharine, punctuated with delicate giggles. Yet her eyes kept darting toward me, sharp and calculating. Oh, Avery works so hard, it's heartbreaking, she sighed, loud enough for me to hear. A girl has to take care of herself, right? If Leo knew how much she's pushing herself, he'd probably blame me for not looking after her better. She laughed softly, fluttering her hand in mock humility. My Leo is just too soft-hearted. He always feels indebted to hardworking employees. I tell him all the time, don't be too kind to your subordinates, honey. You don't want to give anyone the wrong impression. The office air felt thick with tension, coworkers' eyes glued to me with curiosity and thinly veiled glee. I ignored it all, focusing entirely on the contract revisions. An hour later, I had combed through every clause, every word, every comma. I hit send. Recipient: Leo Miller. The click of heels behind me made me tense. Chloe leaned over my desk, holding Leo's phone in her manicured hand. Wonderful work, Avery. You're such a trooper, she chirped, her smile a flawless mask. Leo left this with me. He didn't want me to worry. She leaned closer, her tone conspiratorial. Just a precaution, in case any little bees buzz near my husband. She pulled back, eyes wide, voice carefully sweet. Oh, don't get me wrong. I wasn't referring to you. I'm sure this is just a work email. Her volume was quiet but perfectly tuned to carry across the open office. From a nearby cubicle, a stifled laugh slipped out. Well, someone muttered, dripping with sarcasm. When the real girlfriend has to mark her territory, you know someone has no boundaries. Another added, director at 28? Sure, all thanks to her work ethic. Yeah, right. We all know what that really means. I leaned back in my chair, smiling faintly. Chloe, you said husband. I said evenly. When was the wedding? Must have missed the invitation. Chloe's face flushed crimson. Her neck stiffened as she struggled for words. Finally, she threw me a venomous glare, spun on her heel, and stormed off, heels clicking furiously across the floor. Heads dipped as if everyone suddenly remembered urgent tasks at hand. I ignored them, returning to my screen. Time passed. The sky outside shifted from gray to black. The office emptied, leaving me alone. Yet Leo's office door remained firmly shut. The company's seal I needed was nowhere in sight. By 8 p.m., I had no choice but to call him. Hello. I forced calm into my voice. Chloe, please put Leo on the line. This contract is urgent. A light, musical laugh came through. Oh, Director Reed, still trying to reach my Leo at this hour? He's already asleep. I gripped the phone tighter. This contract is worth tens of millions. The deadline is 9 a.m. tomorrow. The company can't afford a penalty. Oh, what a shame, she cooed. But work never ends, does it? And a man's health is important. I couldn't possibly wake him. You're so capable, Avery. Surely you can manage.
Click.
She hung up. I tried calling again. A cold, automated voice answered. The user you are trying to reach is unavailable. I tried repeatedly. Same message. She had blocked me. I switched to messaging Leo directly. Leo, the Henderson contract is due at 9 a.m. Default penalties would be catastrophic. Please call me immediately for the seal. A red exclamation mark blinked beside my message. This user is not accepting messages from you.
Perfect.
I picked up the office line and dialed other executives. The VP's phone rang twice before he declined. Moments later, a text arrived. Avery, I'd help if I could, but you know how it is with Leo and Chloe. It's not my place to call right now. The CFO answered instead, voice thick with sleep. Avery, relax. Leo, well, Chloe is on edge. The contract is important, yes, but his personal life matters more. Wait until tomorrow. We'll handle it then. Mark, I interrupted. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., the conversation won't be about the contract. It'll be about paying a $10 million penalty. A long silence. Then a dry chuckle. I'll see what I can do. And then nothing. Desperate, I sent a message to the company-wide group chat. Urgent. Henderson Group multi-million-dollar contract requires the official company seal by 9 a.m. tomorrow, or the company faces catastrophic penalties. Leo is unreachable. If anyone can contact him, please do so immediately. Silence. Moments later, Leo's profile popped up. The words, however, were Chloe's. At Avery Reed, I know you're trying to help, but Leo isn't feeling well. He needs rest. Messages like this late only cause unnecessary worry. Another message followed. And a multi-million-dollar contract? I never heard of it. Be careful, Avery. You wouldn't want to be misled by an outsider. If the company lost that much, how could you handle the responsibility alone? Every line felt like a dagger. Before I could respond, a gray banner appeared at the top of the screen. You have been removed from the group by the administrator. I had to laugh, or I might have screamed. I'd called every number, sent every message. I had exhausted every possible option. I closed my laptop, grabbed my purse, and ordered a car home. Sleep was impossible. As dawn crept over the city, I sat on my sofa, watching the black sky soften to gray. Fatigue washed over me in waves, fraying my nerves. I couldn't just let it go. Leo had been the one to give me my break. A scholarship kid from a small, forgettable town, a graduate of a decent state school with no connections. My resume was otherwise unremarkable. Countless companies had turned me down. Leo was the first to see something in me, to take a chance. He'd trusted me, promoted me, and given me a career. Despite his indecisiveness, despite his weaknesses, he had been a good boss. Then the doorbell rang, frantic, insistent. I shuffled to the door. Leo was there, gripping the company's seal like a lifeline. Chloe trailed behind him, avoiding my gaze completely. Avery. The contract. Status. Quick, I'll stamp it myself. He tried to push past me, desperation written all over him. Chloe cowered behind him, her earlier smugness gone. I couldn't help but smile at the absurdity of it all. Leo, I said, stepping forward to block the doorway. My voice was soft but icy. You're a grown man. Don't you have boundaries? I let my gaze sweep over them both. Slowly, deliberately, I continued. Showing up at your single female subordinate's apartment this early, with your girlfriend in tow. A little inappropriate, don't you think? Leo forced a pained grin. My phone died. It wouldn't turn on all night. I didn't get any of your messages. Chloe clutched his sleeve, peeking out at me. Director Reed, Please don't be mad. It's my fault. I just worried someone might trick him. I wasn't thinking. I said nothing. I retrieved the contract from the coffee table and handed it over. Leo snatched the seal, trembling, stamping each page with urgency. Chloe tried again. Please don't be angry. I only wanted to help him, to share the burden. I didn't mean to cause trouble. I met her gaze, seeing the innocence she tried so hard to project. You care so much that you're willing to risk a multi-million-dollar contract. I said softly. Your concern has a very high price. Her color drained. The contract was submitted, but we were 30 minutes late. Henderson Group was furious. Leo's face went ashen when he hung up. He knew I'd fought tooth and nail to reclaim this project from a dozen competitors. Hours later, he returned. Alone. The boss persona was gone. He sounded desperate. Avery, I know how much this project means to you. Chloe, she meant well. Could you explain what happened? I raised an eyebrow. Explain that your girlfriend almost bankrupted the company because of her feelings? Or that you, as CEO, let her nearly destroy everything? He was speechless. Finally, I sighed and nodded. I'll talk to them. But only if Chloe never interferes with company operations again. Before he could respond, Chloe burst in. Leo, don't make this hard. Director Reed is capable. I know she'll help. It's all my fault. I love you too much. Her eyes flicked toward me, full of implication. Leo exhaled, apologetic. Avery, what's done is done. Henderson has always trusted you. Just take responsibility for this one. I laughed. Leo, my job description doesn't include covering your girlfriend's mistakes. His face darkened. I promoted you from intern. You shouldn't forget where you came from. A chill ran down my spine. Fine. This is the last time, I told him. And I told myself. The Henderson Group conference room felt like an icebox. I didn't explain our lateness. I simply presented a supplementary agreement, moving the final delivery up by a week and signing a performance guarantee. Marcus Sterling, late 30s, eyes like glass cutters, studied me silently. Don't let it happen again, he said finally. I exhaled, realizing I'd been holding my breath. As I left, he added, it's your professionalism that earned this second chance, not Ascend marketing. I nodded and walked out. Chloe was quiet for a week afterward, staying at the front desk. Leo gave me a generous project bonus as compensation. Then came the Monday meeting. I was presenting a new campaign strategy when Chloe barged in again. You've been working so hard. I brought coffee for everyone. The clients and colleagues exchanged confused glances. I clicked the remote to turn off the projector and sank into my chair. Leo laughed awkwardly. Let's take a quick break, everyone. Coffee, anyone? We'll resume Avery's marketing presentation for the second half of the year in just a minute. The clients exchanged glances, but said nothing. Leo's eyes darted to me, silently pleading, but I kept my gaze on my notes. Chloe sidled up next to him, all sweetness and smiles. I was listening outside for a bit. Director Reed is incredible. Her ideas are so clear and organized. No wonder someone like Marcus Sterling from Henderson Group trusts her completely. I have no idea how she does it. Her tone shifted. She turned to Leo, eyes brimming with exaggerated concern. But you can't leave everything to Director Reed. She's competent, yes, but ultimately, the decisions are yours, aren't they? I spun my pen slowly, observing her theatrical display. The room remained silent, but the implication was clear. I was overstepping, outshining my boss. Leo cleared his throat, painfully loud in the quiet room. I smiled. Opening the company's internal policy portal on my laptop, I connected it to the projector. Project Management Decision-Making Protocols, Section 3. I announced evenly. Non-project personnel are not permitted to attend core strategy meetings. The projector's blue glow lit Chloe's horrified expression. Shall I read the job description for the front desk administrator position as well? I asked. Silence. Absolute. Leo's face flushed a chaotic mix of red and white. Mortified, he finally turned to Chloe, voice tight. Get out. The meeting ended tensely. Clients left without the usual pleasantries. Leo slammed his binder onto the conference table, storm clouds written all over his face. Are you satisfied now, Avery? I ignored him, closing my laptop. You humiliated her in front of a client. That means you humiliated me. Do you understand the bigger picture? My job is to protect the project, Leo, not your girlfriend's ego, I replied calmly. he sputtered, fury barely contained, before storming out, slamming the door behind him. 30 minutes later, an email arrived from the client. Leo forwarded it without comment. In corporate speak, they expressed concerns about internal management and professionalism and indicated they needed to reassess the partnership. A few days later came my quarterly review. Leo slid the evaluation across the desk. His finger rested on the C- next to overall performance. I waited. Your work is impeccable, he said flatly. But being a superstar isn't always appreciated. The company values reliable cogs, not nails that stick out. I nodded, picked up the form, folded it neatly, and stashed it in my drawer. Then I opened my laptop and began organizing my personal files. From that day forward, I became the most punctual employee in the company. At 6 p.m. sharp, I shut down my computer, grabbed my bag, and left. If a colleague called, the answer was always the same. It's after hours. One night at 9 p.m., the project group chat exploded with messages, and Leo's calls came in rapid succession. I switched my phone to silent and tossed it on the sofa. The next morning, Leo was waiting at my desk, frowning. Avery, why didn't you answer? There was a project emergency. I turned on my computer, voice calm. Leo, you called at 9 p.m. That's after hours. He stared at me, incredulous. So, you won't handle work emergencies after hours? You never used to be like this. My performance review was AC-, I said evenly. It indicated my previous habits weren't approved. I'm adjusting accordingly. He was speechless, chest heaving with frustration. Eventually, the anger drained, and he softened. Avery, I get it, he said, trying a conciliatory tone. Everyone knows what you're capable. Keep your head down, do good work, and you'll be employee of the quarter next time. I nodded. Understood, Leo. He seemed satisfied. I opened my laptop to a folder of project files, then an encrypted folder containing my updated resume and headhunter contacts. I composed a new email. Hello, my name is Avery Reed. I am currently exploring new career opportunities. I hit send. The headhunter called almost immediately. I submitted a vacation request through the official system. Denied. Left with no other option, I went straight to Leo. His office door was slightly open. He glanced up and gestured me in. I pushed it open fully. He was staring at his screen, visibly tense. What is it? I requested vacation time. You denied it, I said plainly. He leaned back, arms crossed. The project's at a critical stage. Everyone's working overtime and you want time off. The law entitles me to my paid leave, I replied evenly. He rubbed his temples, frustration clear. You never used to be like this. If something goes wrong while you're gone, are you ready to take responsibility? I met his gaze, expression unreadable. Leo, I expect you to respect my legal rights. Besides, I haven't taken a single day off in over a year. His face turned crimson. Avery, he sputtered, unable to finish. I turned and walked out. Behind me, I heard his muffled roar. You'll regret this. Back at my desk, my phone erupted with notifications. One after another, messages popped up. You have been removed from the core project team by the administrator. You have been removed from company-wide announcements by the administrator. They kept coming, precise and calculated. I grabbed my phone and returned to Leo's office. He didn't look up as if expecting me. What is the meaning of this? I held the phone up. You're fired, Avery, he finally said, satisfaction written across his face. I nodded.
Fine.
Your contract states I'm owed severance. He laughed, sharp and short. Gross misconduct and dereliction of duty. No severance for you. I applied for legally protected vacation time. There's a record of it, I said calmly. Terminating me over this is illegal. He stood, finger pointed. The project's chaos is your fault, and you have the nerve to talk law? I didn't reply. I returned to my desk, compiling years of overtime records, project emails, and chat logs with Leo. I encrypted and uploaded everything to a secure cloud drive. Days passed. Every resume I sent seemed to vanish. Interviews were canceled last minute with vague excuses of more suitable candidates. The headhunter called again. Avery, I'm sorry. We have to cancel our meeting. Why? I asked. After a pause, he replied via text. The word on the street is that you're toxic. That you stole confidential project data on your way out. The line went dead. My knuckles whitened around the phone. Leo wasn't just firing me. He was trying to obliterate my career. Then my phone vibrated. A local number I didn't recognize. Hello? I answered hoarse. A few seconds of silence, then a deep, steady voice. Ms. Reed, this is Marcus Sterling. My spine stiffened. Could this be real? I heard what happened at your previous company, he continued. But I trust my own judgment. My strategic development department needs someone with your resilience and expertise. Would you be open to a discussion? The city lights outside blurred, dark except for the single beam that cut through the gloom in that moment. I gripped the phone. Yes, I said, voice trembling slightly but firm. Marcus Sterling hired me as Senior Director of Strategic Development, reporting directly to him. On my first day, he handed me a welcome assignment, a full reevaluation of Sterling Corp's partnership with Ascend Marketing. I understood immediately. This wasn't just work, it was leverage. Word traveled fast. The first time I stepped into Ascend Marketing as a client, Leo was waiting, flanked by his senior management team. Chloe hovered nearby, wearing her usual mask of pride. Leo rushed forward. Director Reed, welcome, we're honored. He extended his hand. I didn't take it. My gaze swept past him, pausing briefly on Chloe before returning to Leo. Let's skip the formalities, Mr. Miller. This is business, I said flatly. In the conference room, I took the head seat. Ascend's team sat stiffly on either side, barely breathing. Leo's smile was forced. Every slide he presented punctuated with furtive glances at me. Halfway through, the door opened. Chloe entered, tray in hand. I brought refreshments for everyone, she said. I ignored the cup, looking directly at Leo. Since when does Sterling Corp allow irrelevant personnel in meetings? Leo's smile froze, curdling into fury. He snapped at Chloe. Get out. Who told you to enter? Chloe's eyes filled with tears. She shot me one last glare and fled, humiliated. The conclusion of my first evaluation report was succinct. Recommendation: terminate contract. Internal management is in disarray, and the loss of key personnel poses a serious risk. I sent it to Marcus. His reply was blunt. Understood. That evening Leo called. He invited me to a private dinner at an exclusive club. Just the two of us, the atmosphere thick with tension. He had lost the daytime bravado, serving my tea himself with a posture that seemed almost desperate. Avery, for old time's sake, please. Give us another chance. You know Ascend is my life, he said, voice low. I raised my teacup, silent, letting the steam hide his anxious expression. He leaned in. Name your price. Anything.
Come back.
Vice President, anything you want on the Sterling account, I'll make it happen. Before he could finish, the door burst open. Chloe stormed in, eyes rimmed red, fingers shaking in my direction. Avery, have you no shame? You're gone, and you're still trying to seduce my husband. The hope on Leo's face drained instantly, replaced by pale panic. I set down my cup and looked at him. Leo, you can't run the world if your own house is in chaos. My gaze flicked to the tear-streaked woman behind him, perhaps focused there before discussing business. His face drained of color, leaving him frozen in stunned silence. As I left, I added casually, by the way, Leo, you still owe me my severance. I hadn't even reached the street before my phone buzzed. A substantial sum had been deposited, my full, legally mandated severance. Leo acted quickly when he wanted to. A small smile tugged at my lips. Labor board headaches avoided. Back at the office, I submitted my final evaluation to Marcus. 2 words arrived in reply. Report accepted. I understood immediately. Ascend Marketing's fate had been sealed. The next few days were quiet. The official termination letter went out. Industry whispers spread, subtly warning others not to do business with Ascend. Leo's line of credit vanished overnight. Then the calls started, furious, frantic, desperate. I let him vent into voicemail before answering. Avery, you did this. Are you trying to ruin me? I listened calmly, then replied evenly. Leo, I didn't destroy your company. Your own indulgence and weakness did. Chloe's so-called concern contributed too. Sharp intake of breath. I continued. Remember that morning at my apartment? I told you her concern came at a very high price. I ended the call and immediately blocked his number. I thought the chaos was over. Then a new, nastier rumor spread. It began in the break room. I was making coffee when I overheard my name entwined with phrases like sleeped her way to the top and corporate spy. The moment I entered, the chatter died. Later, A young intern approached, phone in hand, face worried. Avery, I think someone's spreading lies about you, she whispered. On her screen was a viral post from an anonymous gossip blog. Meet Sterling Corp's new director. Did she earn her role in the boardroom or the bedroom? The post included photos, a business dinner with Marcus, seemingly intimate, a carside update caught through a window, misrepresented as a kiss, even a screenshot of my severance from Leo. The caption read, "Takes the money, then destroys the company. A true corporate predator." The narrative was seamless. According to the rumor, I had an ongoing affair with Marcus, acted as a corporate spy, and finally pocketed money to ruin my former boss. I handed the phone back. "Thank you for showing me," I said. "The Slack channels, they're exploding," the intern whispered. I nodded. I understood the tactic.
Chloe.
It had to be her. She wasn't just trying to get me fired, she was attempting to exile me from the entire industry. I straightened, walking toward Marcus Sterling's office, each whisper and sideways glance along the way like needles against my skin. I knocked once before stepping into Marcus's office. He looked up from a neat stack of reports, eyes calm, unreadable. I placed my phone on his desk, the gossip article open for him to see. "Mr. Sterling, about this." He didn't reach for the phone. Just a glance. "Has it affected the project?"
Not yet, I said.
But the company's reputation could take a hit. He leaned back slightly, fingers interlaced. "Do you need legal involved?" I shook my head.
No.
"This is personal. I'll take care of it, and I'll make sure it's done properly." Marcus studied me for a long moment, then gave a small nod. "You have 3 days. No sympathy. No advice. Just a timeline." That was the Marcus I knew. The moment I left his office, I called a friend in cybersecurity and sent him the blog link along with the usernames pushing the rumors. "I need the source," I told him. Fast. 2 hours later, a message came through. Anonymous accounts, but the IP traces to a single location, the Gilded Orchid Spa, West Side. The Gilded Orchid. Chloe's favorite spot. Another ping. Sending you a picture. The photo showed Chloe at a nightclub, pressed against a balding man twice her age, laughing as she lifted a drink to his lips. His hand rested on her bare thigh. My friend added, "Guy's Richard Wong.
Married.
His wife's notorious for hunting down mistresses." I stared at the photo. Chloe really didn't know when to stop. I saved everything. Then I opened my banking app, screenshotted the severance transfer from Ascend, and attached a copy of the contract's termination clause. Next, I messaged an old coworker still inside Ascend. 5 minutes later, several security videos landed in my inbox. In one clip, Chloe was mid-tantrum, throwing files at a manager for not calling her Mrs. Miller. Another showed her using Leo's company account to spread lies about me. I gathered every piece of evidence, bank statements, screenshots, video clips, and the photos of her with Richard Wong, and turned them into a single, detailed post. The caption was short, "Let the facts speak." Within hours, the internet turned on its head. The smear article vanished, replaced by a new one. "The real office villain, Chloe Bell exposed." The post laid out everything I'd shared, side by side with Chloe's hypocrisy. Comment sections exploded. She pretended to be the victim? Unbelievable. Cheating on her boss while trying to destroy someone else's career? That's wild. Poor Avery Reed. Imagine being targeted like that. Every insult once aimed at me, homewrecker, traitor, fraud, was now hers to carry. And then, Sterling Corp made its move. A post appeared on Sterling Corp's verified account. Official statement. In it, I wasn't referred to vaguely as a party involved anymore. I was named directly, Ms. Avery Reed, a valued executive of Sterling Corporation. The statement called the attack on me a deliberate act of defamation and commercial sabotage. Attached was a preview of a cease and desist letter from Thorne and Associates, the firm known for never losing a defamation case. The case number was visible. It wasn't just a warning, it was a message. Someone in the comments even posted a screenshot of the law firm's record, a perfect win rate. It was clear, this wasn't a defense. It was a counterstrike. Marcus hadn't said a word to me since our meeting, yet in under 3 hours, he had turned the tables completely. The gossip accounts that had been spreading filth about me were now mass deleting posts, scrambling to disappear. My phone went from constant buzzing to total silence. Marcus Sterling hadn't issued a clarification. He'd launched a war and built an unbreakable wall around me in the process. As I looked out over the city skyline that night, I finally understood what kind of power he truly held. Quiet, absolute and terrifyingly effective. I silenced my phone, letting the calm of my apartment settle over me. Marcus hadn't just handed me a weapon. He'd given me the full armory. Then, a message popped up from a former colleague. Avery, you have to see this. Total chaos. Attached was a shaky video. Outside a Michelin-starred restaurant, Chloe strutted arm in arm with Richard Wong, a smug, self-satisfied smile plastered across her face. Then, out of a black SUV, a woman in a sharply tailored Chanel suit appeared, flanked by two imposing men. She lunged at Chloe, yanking her hair and landing blows that rang like metal against concrete. Chloe's flawless hairstyle collapsed into a mess, her designer dress shredded. She fell to the pavement, sobbing and pleading, while Wong huddled uselessly against a wall, frozen. The clip ended with Chloe being dragged, semi-conscious, into the SUV as it sped away. Minutes later, my colleague sent a trembling voice memo. Avery, it was Wong's wife. She's infamous. Chloe was beaten badly, completely broken. And they removed her uterus. I gripped the phone, cold fingers wrapped around it. The one asset Chloe had leveraged for power, the one she'd used to climb, had been permanently taken from her. The cost was horrific, but in a grim, ironic way, it was exactly what she had been fighting for. After that night, Chloe Bell vanished from both my life and the industry. A month later, Ascend Marketing filed for bankruptcy. Leo, buried under mountains of personal debt, was blacklisted from any loans or credit. His house, his cars, all auctioned. A few months later, my colleague sent a blurry photo. Avery, guess who? It showed a man in a stained white t-shirt, squatting on a curb, smoking. Behind him, a chaotic construction supply yard stretched out. He was skeletal, with sunken eyes and greasy, unkempt hair. It was Leo. Apparently, he had been searching for Chloe like a man possessed. When he finally found her at the private clinic and realized what had happened, something inside him shattered completely. I deleted the photo. Leo's life had been a cycle of being controlled and then losing control. That cycle was finally broken. A year later, after leading a major urban development initiative, I was officially promoted to vice president at Sterling Corp. Marcus sent only a brief company-wide email. No pomp, no ceremony, just efficiency. His style. My style. My new office sat on the top floor, separated from his only by a wall of frosted glass. The phone rang. Marcus. Meeting in 20, he said. I moved to the window, watching the streams of traffic below. Lights like flowing rivers, stars mapped across the cityscape. I wasn't the scholarship kid from a forgotten town anymore. I was the one who made the rules now. Okay, I said. 20 minutes later, I crossed the threshold of my office and stepped into the conference room, precisely on time.